make any continuity errors.
Continuity. Yes.
Thank you. Words are hard, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep.
Dude, I have had this crazy glitch in my freaking brain where I wake up at 3 a.m. every...
That's happening to you too?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. But let's break the cycle of crap and talk about some really good stuff. I'm wearing this AEW shirt because we are booking Alpha Entertainment Worldwide, our AEW. Before Josiah tells you about his Monday Night Raw.
Actually, I think you're going first.
Well, Raw, Monday always comes before Friday.
Right, but this is my first Raw on the 6th, and yours is on the 2nd. Unless I read that wrong.
Did we end on a Raw?
Thought so.
Whatever.
I'll
go first. I'll go first. The important thing is, this is what's important. The channel exists to sell my 68-page graphic novel. This is the Jeff Hicks cover. That is the Nick Crook cover. And Josiah's being funny. There are very limited first printings of each cover. Once they sell out, they will never be printed again. There is a brand new Jeff Hicks cover coming. There is an homage cover coming done by Nick Crook. So when these are done, they'll never be printed again. There are will only ever be 100 of the Jeff Hicks cover, will only ever be 50 of the Nick Crook cover. So that was fun.
Good coverage.
So the beauty of this world is we get to create new stars. We get to work with stars that already exist. Speaking of the stars that exist, I would like to reiterate the fact that the gentleman villain is a smart man. And when he dethroned the young, well, not that young, but whatever, the younger competitor Edge, he outsmarted him and he won't give him his rematch because
he's a smart fox.
Within the rules of the Intercontinental Championship.
Well, all championships.
All championships, exactly. Within the company, you only have to defend every 30 days. Mandatorily, you only have to defend only every 30 days.
Right.
Otherwise, you lose your title.
Correct.
However, this reality is really rubbing SmackDown wrong because with Triple H as the Undisputed Champion and a shared champion between Raw and SmackDown, he's not always there. Like we see him, and he's had a match so far.
He's been, styling, profiling.
Yes, exactly. He's been living the life of his most favorite folks, the Four Horsemen, which is great for him, but it's not so great for SmackDown itself. And so, on SmackDown, January, February, March, April, May the 2nd of 2002, Stephanie decrees to William Regal that this weekend, in his home country, he has to defend his Intercontinental Championship against Edge and Jeff Hardy. So, with that being the case, William Regal takes the night off on SmackDown. He's there, but he's not competing.
He's not, He's there to look good.
Exactly. He's scouting all the competition. He's lording over his subjects, if you will. But like I said, it's primarily on this episode of SmackDown helping promote the Insurrection event, which
he is clearly the face of.
Oh yeah, exactly. Why would he not be?
Right.
His lordship is the biggest European star within the promotion, if you don't count D'Lo Brown and Al Snow, that is.
Right, of course.
Those two
legendary European wrestlers.
Yes, stars of the entire country.
European scene.
Exactly. I love that. But yeah, so my big main event that I booked for this episode of SmackDown is Edge, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, The Rock, and Booker T taking on what has been redubbed XL Factor. X-Pac, Just Incredible, Albert, and The Big Show.
A lot of weight on that too.
Exactly. And so with the addition of The Big Show with Albert, that is what adds the L for large to X Factor.
I get it, because he's the Big Show.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And so, in a shock of all shocks, I actually put the heels over in the main event.
Wow.
So
is that a first for you? I don't think you've done that yet. Well, aside from Regal.
Well, yes, Regal went over as a heel, but the reason this is important is because The Rock, Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
Booker T, and Edge lost.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
obviously, it's not elimination, it's not Survivor Series. So what happens is Albert and Big Show, they double team, they beat up, they soften up Edge, and get him prepared to take an X Factor. The finish, not the
Oh
group.
my gosh, Sean Waltman wins the main event.
Sean Waltman wins in the main event.
Oh my god, I love to see it.
And so the reason I'm doing this is at Insurrection over the weekend, X-Pac and Just Incredible, exactly, they tag up to take on the current reigning, defending, and subsequently losing Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions Spike Dudley and Crash Holly. And in the UK at Insurrection on May the 4th, May the 4th be with you, that's funny. I just caught that was when the show was happening.
Nice.
XL Factor become tag team champions. Also, with what I'm booking on the show, because Josiah's got him some stuff to sprinkle into Insurrection as well.
Right.
William Regal defends against, as I already teased, defends against both Jeff Hardy and Edge. This time, there's no count out, there's no disqualification, two things that William Regal's already used to his advantage. But what he does, because he can't get disqualified, he blatantly uses the brass knuckles to knock out Edge, and then he holds Jeff Hardy's belt on his pants when he rolls him up, and so he uses two tactics of cheating to outsmart his opponents.
Cheating at a high level.
And so, Insurrection sees one title change in the Cruiserweight Tag Team division, and then a title retention by William Regal with the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah. And so, while we're here at Insurrection, what did you have planned there, my man?
Yes, sir. So, obviously other stuff happens on the show, but for simplicity's sake, I have Van Dam defending his U.S. Championship, and he is defending it against his ECW brother in Tommy Dreamer.
The Innovator of Violence.
Innovator of Violence.
Yeah, that's a great nickname.
That's probably one of the best nicknames I've ever heard. And unfortunately, since Dreamer loses all the time, no one really thinks about it. But keep with that consistency, Dreamer loses.
Yes, absolutely. He can't be breaking that trend.
Yeah. Since it's Van Dam and Dreamer, obviously ECW chance.
Oh yeah.
It's a hardcore match just because it's Dreamer and Van Dam.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But yeah, just some silly little fun. They of course embrace afterwards because they're boys.
Ain't mad at it.
And then lastly, we kind of co-booked this last one, but the main event we have Triple H taking on Kurt Angle and the newly coming out with the newly minted manager, valet, whatever terminology you want to use, of Stacy Keibler.
Yes. I love this alliance. Yeah. So I was talking to Ahmed earlier in the week,
right?
And we were just both praising your booking of a man who is so technically sound, using the assistance of Stacy and her technical prowess to have that laptop out there and analyze his opponents. It's very cerebral, like the Cerebral Assassin himself. But I don't know how you booked it to end, but I think that because this is a UK exclusive pay-per-view, and very few are going to watch it, I think that you could probably get by with doing like a double disqualification where Ric Flair is out there with Trips wooing it up, and Stacy's out there with Kurt, tippity typing on her keyboard, and they both managers, because they're both kind of actually I think they're both legit. They're both legit heels. I think you could probably get by with like a comedy DQ finish, just because
it's a B level pay per view.
I mean, it's like a D level because it's only purchasable in the UK.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't full on book Insurrection. Whereas what I do actually full on book, and I know it's your show next, but I'm gonna tease before we get to Monday Night Raw. I do full on book Bash at the Beach. So May 19th. Oh my goodness, another date that is relevant, and in this case, it's because of See No Evil and Kane. But May 19th, I have Alpha Entertainment Worldwide keep Bash at the Beach relevant because throughout
Because
all
they
of
own it, and they should
well,
do
not
it.
only do they own it and should they do it, but throughout all of my booking of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Remix,
Mm-hmm.
Bash at the Beach was a important show throughout the calendar year because of the formation of the New World Order. And so why not keep things that were important keep them relevant? So I maintain Bash the Beach, Starcade, and
Halloween Havoc.
well, what I do with Halloween Havoc and the Great American Bash, I make them TV specials, not
Okay.
pay-per-views.
So,
so I-
full on pay-per-views.
Just a little bit of backstage stuff for everybody watching. I actually sent Josiah the red version of this, and so anytime that we got to July 4th or around it, I would brand it Great American, in my case SmackDown, or in his case Great American Raw, because generally speaking, it made more sense to book the TV show as the Great American whatever, as opposed to bringing back Great American Bash as a pay-per-view, because generally pay-per-views happen toward the end of the month, and the 4th of July is at the very, very beginning.
The very start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it makes sense then having two pretty much back-to-back pay-per-views.
yes.
Just have a nice TV special and then.
And it's brand, and NXT does it now actually.
Yeah.
Bringing the Great American Bash as a TV special as opposed to a pay-per-view.
Well, shit, I don't think NXT has any more pay-per-views anymore, but yes, you are correct. They do TV specials.
Actually, they're doing their
I'm
first. No, you're good. They're doing their first on tour premium live event, Vengeance Day, in the month of February.
Oh, good for them.
And I'd say on tour outside of the Performance
Right.
Center.
So they're leaving Orlando.
Yes, it's in somewhere Carolina,
Oh, okay. Wrestling City? Okay.
probably North Carolina, but I know it's somewhere Carolina.
I would guess.
Yeah. Especially with a Steiner.
Yeah,
they
I would
should still call
hope.
it- especially
Right.
with a Steiner on top. Like, come on now, it ought to be a Carolina.
I mean, it
or,
is
North Carolina. I mean.
It's a softball toss-up for sure.
Yes.
But getting back to the main event, I'm perfectly fine with the double DQ.
Oh, good, thanks.
Insurrection, so I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Neither do they.
Throughout the match, you kind of see how the Kurt Stacy dynamic works
Yes.
out. So it starts out basically with just basic Triple H versus Kurt. Kurt's like kind of wrestling. Triple H gets the upper hand. Kurt slides out and kind of talks to Stacy. Stacy types on her keyboard, whispers in his ear. Kurt gets back in and takes the advantage.
You know what this reminds me
kind
of?
of vibe.
Very little, or a little bit. I mean, is when Arn was coaching, as he put it, coaching Cody, and he lifted up the paper and he would tell him the advice.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I got the inspiration from.
It's-
It's the same logic.
Well, it's just good. It's good thinking when
Yeah.
it comes to booking. Man, I love Cody and Arn.
Oh, it's great.
I love wrestling.
Great.
Wrestling is
great.
good.
Wrestling's so great. But yeah, it's just something to kind of give you the idea how the Stacy Kurt relationship is going to work in the
Absolutely.
future. Triple H still looks good because he came out as world champion with Ric Flair.
Absolutely.
And the double DQ, nobody lost. So Kurt still technically on his losing streak,
Yes.
but also did not lose again.
Isn't the Raw coming up the match between him and Dustin?
Week after.
Week after. Okay. But still, we got that to look forward to.
Yeah, no.
Whew.
No. The Raw coming up, which can I go to now?
Absolutely. It's all you.
Raw coming up is all about the outsiders, baby. All about Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and the Dudley Boys.
I love it. Oh, that sounds good.
So the show opens up, just a nice little opener. Molly Holly versus Jacqueline.
Oh, wait.
What's up?
This is your last time booking Scott Hall, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was about to say it has to be because it's the next day where he gets let go.
Yep. And it'll subsequently be the last time I book Kevin because I think he gets injured like
Yeah.
a week after.
Yeah.
Week, 2 weeks.
For
whatever.
sure. Yeah, not
So-
long. Not long.
Like, instead of just breaking them up and having them lose to somebody else,
Makes sense.
just have them both go out together.
Makes
They've
sense.
been together their whole careers. It
Yeah.
feels right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
The
so
flip-
spoilers for the main event. But,
Sorry, it hit me.
Yeah.
Because I remembered it was Insurrection, which was the plane ride from hell,
Yeah,
or the flight back from Insurrection is
Right,
what was
right.
the plane ride from hell.
exactly. But so Molly beats Jacqueline. It's a nice little match. Just get the crowd warmed up. Opens the show. Throughout the show, there are
I've
these.
got to compliment your booking of female wrestling.
Thank you.
Like, instantly, I made the mistake in my head because of the sleep deprivation.
Right.
I was like, Molly beat Jazz, and I was like, oh no, you said Jacqueline.
Did say that.
But still, just thinking about how not just those two or three, Jacqueline, Jazz, and Molly, but also Trish and Lita, and Ivory, all of the women in your universe, in your world, in your on your show have been treated with respect, and it's just nice to see.
Well, it helps because I grew up in both eras. So like, I came in when I started watching wrestling. Like I was in like the tail end of the Divas, Raw and Panties,
Oh yes,
etc.
Yeah.
And like I enjoyed that because I was
sure,
a teenager.
Yes,
But as I grew up to be an adult, and I learned more, and like I got a girlfriend, so I wasn't a child.
exactly.
I learned how important it was to respect a woman, and then that's all when the women's revolution came in. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah. Oh my goodness,
they actually can wrestle.
Well, it's so crazy to listen to the narrative of the company because like it's like Stephanie McMahon created
women's wrestling.
and it's like I was like, dude, long before Stephanie came out and promoted the women being
Good
brought to
prominence.
Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah,
Emma and Paige, AJ Lee, even Caitlyn.
tearing it down.
Yeah, doing great work.
Man.
Sorry, continue. Back to your show.
Yeah. No, all good. Basically, so Molly wins. Nice moment, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout the show, like, you're just seeing these promo packages. And it's these promo packages highlighting the Dudley Boys' career. So, the Dudley Boys, because I can't remember exactly how many tag titles they won, but they probably are at least 10 times.
I feel like that's reasonable to guess.
Exactly. And since AEW owns the archives of WWF, ECW, and WCW, they have every single one of the Dudley's tag team championships.
Yes.
So it's highlighting those wins. It's highlighting them putting people through flaming tables. It's highlighting them being the most decorated tag team in all of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And then in contrast, you have...
And they're still currently champions,
Yeah,
right?
they're still currently champions.
That's what's up.
Exactly. And then in contrast, you have these highlights of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Scott Hall's World War III win. Scott Hall's World Championship win.
And Kevin Nash's World Championship win. He was the longest, he went from 365 days as WWF champion.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's smart.
Exactly. So highlighting why these two men, even though they've been down on their luck, and their backs against the wall, the dogs fighting in the yard.
Yep.
They're still contenders. They're still hungry. They can still
love it.
Make this happen.
So Triple H has done not precisely what you're doing, but something very similar.
Yeah.
While he's had the book, promoted both the Intercontinental and the United States Championship with highlight packages, and that's the beauty of having so much history.
Exactly.
At your disposal.
Yeah. Thank God, you booked Scott Hall very well. So.
Well, you helped.
Yeah, I did help
because I wanted to make him world champion. I was like, I don't know if they'll do it. He's like, well, you're booking. I was like, you're right. Let's do it.
I'm about to say, let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
But yeah, so it makes Scott even more legendary. He already is. He's not a world champion, not a guy that should have been world champion, but wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Type figure.
Yes.
So that adds to his legacy, at least in our universe.
Yes.
So that's going on throughout the night. So as I knock out these last couple of segments, just keep those in mind. We have DDP, Billy Gunn. I was about to say the Guns out of instinct. Billy Gunn and Sean Stasiak, and DDP has them, and kind of like a primitive version of what would become his DDPY studio.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like the self-help, self-confidence guru.
Yes.
And he's trying to teach Billy and Sean to believe in themselves, have confidence, and they'll grow and soar. And Billy and Sean, obviously, not with it. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And Billy's like, trust me, I got you. And then does this little leg thing for yoga.
Oh my goodness!
Couldn't do in a million years.
Check this out. So, I don't know if you remember, but there were multiple instances in the Chuck and Billy storyline where the cameras would catch them doing stretches.
Yeah.
And so, I think it'd be funny if neither one, Billy or Sean, could do it individually, but if they helped each other, then they could pull it off, right? And so then. They're not full on doing Chuck and Billy gimmicks, but they're helping each other to try and achieve what Paige wants.
Build the tag team.
Exactly.
That's great. That'll be with the segment. I have these segments pretty much peppered in throughout my show for this month.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying to come up with a name for it because
I still have nothing. I was gonna go with Planet Ass for a little bit, but then I was like, nah.
Yeah. like I kind of want to do positively something
Yeah.
because of Paige's positive attitude,
Yeah.
right?
And the name's definitely gonna have to stem off of DDP, and I think after I think about it a little more, I'll figure it out. But it'll come to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Not this episode, but the next episode.
for sure.
All right. Let me run through the rest of the show real quick. Jazz has a sit-down interview with the newly acquired Ace reporter Gregory Helms.
I love that you're doing that.
And she's talking about her championship reign. Talking about the opponent she faced, how great everyone was, and how she's looking forward to continuing to be a dominant champion. When Lita comes in and attacks her. And Lita beats her down, throws her all across the world, slams her head into a wall, and says nothing. She doesn't say anything. She doesn't need to say anything.
Oh my! Can I make just a quick
Sure.
question? Can there be a window in a door?
Yeah.
Instead of into the wall, because
Get that shattered glass.
right.
I
So
like that.
one, I love the Rockers breakup spot.
Yeah.
And then two, AEW. This one, not ours. They did a spot like that with
Britt Baker's. Was it Britt Baker's
well, so
little show?
so Chris Jericho was hiding from Cody,
Oh, I know the one.
and then Cody put a shirt and he busted the window. I was like, let's do that here,
Yeah.
where the Jazz gets thrown through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Perfect. But yeah, so Lita walks out looking like a badass Shane, and Shane's sitting there like,
Oh, I know, right? Oh my
what's up with
goodness. that? Oh my goodness.
and then we have Too Cool taking on Holly and Saturn. Too Cool get the win.
Yeah, of
Just,
course. Yeah. Because what you're doing is you're highlighting both women's wrestling and tag wrestling within this episode.
Exactly.
And I think that's smart.
Doing what I can. And then finally, we hit the main event. It's, what did I say last week? No disqualification, Dudley Boys versus the Outsiders. It's a good 20-minute match. There's near falls. There's moments. Scott Hall hits a beautiful Razor's Edge on Bubba Ray for the through a table, and gets the closest near fall, but Bubba kicks out.
Well, and here's the funny thing is, my instant thought when you said Scott Hall hits a Razor's Edge or Outsider's Edge on Bubba was like, my God, Bubba's so big, and then I was like, oh wait, Scott Hall's so
Scott
big.
Hall's
Like,
huge.
oh my, everybody in this match is so big.
It's giant.
It's like
Devon is probably the smallest competitor in this match.
He's not small in the
and
least.
he's not small. But it's the sheer size, it's the visual. Bubba's the biggest guy on the team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
So
it's
it
no
just
knock.
looks
It was just like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bubba kicks out. The heartbreak on Scott's face is evident.
mhm.
You can tell how bad he wants this.
You might even think that he thinks this is the end of the line.
It's the end of the line. Well, it could be.
It could be.
It could be. But basically, so they take Scott Hall, or not, sorry, they take Kevin out by hitting him with a super bomb. You know, the Dudleys set up the
Mhm.
super bomb to the outside.
Oh, wow.
So,
Did he tear a quad?
yeah, immediately. Upon landing. Super bomb to the outside. Scott Hall is out of the match. They, everybody's checking on him, the doctors, everything. Scott Hall is violently babyfacing by himself. He's bloodied. He's barely standing, and he's got he has nothing left to give. But he's like, come on, I'm ready. And so Devon pushes him, bounces him off the ropes, elevates him, deadly death drop into the match.
Oh, I love it.
Oh man.
That's so good.
And thus ends Scott and Kevin's career in WWE, and I think period. I don't think they ever came back.
Oh well,
Kevin came back in 2011, but
Well, he had another short run where he in the original timeline he had a short run where he came in for this was when he had that Punisher haircut.
oh yeah, I
And
did forget about that.
He had a match with Triple H in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
With Mick Foley as the ref, and
Mhm.
then he was also in the second Elimination Chamber question mark, one of them.
Sounds
But if you never want to book him again, that's fine. I might even pick him up as like a whatever if I got something for him. But I don't even got that in mind right now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I just feel like it's right that that's how they.
Oh,
ended.
absolutely.
At least for my show. I
No,
mean, if you got
I don't
ideas-
have anything. I don't have anything, but I do see what you're saying, and I like the storybook ending, especially because we know that he's going to go on and produce some paparazzi productions
exactly.
over in another territory.
Yep. But showing Dudley's leave, saying we are the greatest tag team ever.
It could be hard to question that
Yeah.
one.
And Scott Hall picks his broken, torn buddy up, and they just walk to the back. They turn and hit the end of an era spot with the remember at the end of the Hell in a Cell.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they just stand and soak in the adulation of the crowd, wave, and that's it.
And then Tuesday we see on .com that unfortunately the company has come to terms with the release of Scott Hall. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we understand.
Yeah. Reality is reality.
Reality is reality.
Get some things you shouldn't.
Gotta play by the rules.
And listen, I think if Scott had passed away after he left the company initially, it would have been a lot sadder story.
Yes.
I think the fact that he came back, had the DDP yoga.
I feel that
turned
way
his
about
life
Jake Roberts.
Yes,
right?
I was
talking to I was talking to somebody today about how I hope Jeff Hardy can get a Jake the Snake Roberts redemption arc, because he was saying how that him and his kid love the Hardy Boys, right? Which who
who doesn't?
Exactly, like that's one of the easiest things to ever relate to.
I don't think I've ever met a group of people who don't like the Hardy Boys.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense.
And so I was just saying I hope that he gets that Scott Hall or that Jake Roberts.
Well, the upside is he's still. Well, I mean, he's 40 and whatever, but he's relatively young.
Exactly, yeah.
He's got most of his life ahead of him if he takes care of himself.
Absolutely.
So I can only hope for the best. I just want Jeff to be all right, man. I don't even care if he doesn't wrestle it in anymore.
Speaking of Jeff Hardy, I booked Jeff Hardy to face D'Lo Brown. I'm bringing this up before I even give context, because seeing your haircut, I'm like, this is my boy D'Lo Brown right here. Which I love D'Lo Brown, but I was just like, with you
honestly, yeah, because
I was
all the hair is gone, the beard.
Exactly, I was seeing some D'Lo.
Yeah, just dealing with the...
I love it. All right, so this has been the ongoing, most important story on SmackDown since the draft. That is William Regal's intelligence and his ability to manipulate the rules. So tonight on SmackDown, 5/9 of 2002, we open with the general manager of SmackDown, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley.
Stephanie Mac.
So Stephanie Mac, I like that. She comes out and she says, for far too long, his lordship has been
lying, cheating, and stealing.
Well, yes, but what I was going to say is he's been using the rules to his advantage. So tonight, we here on SmackDown, we're changing the rules.
Ooh.
Not to the Intercontinental Championship.
Can't wait to hear this.
But we are changing the landscape of weekly television wrestling, because here on SmackDown we're making wrestling what is important. And how you know wrestling is important is because each week here on SmackDown, after Bash of the Beach, our exclusive AEW Television Championship must be defended weekly. So whoever wins this 8-man tournament that begins tonight will have to defend the AEW Television title every week on SmackDown. William Regal, I understand that you have used the 30-day rule to your advantage, but I am not going to let the SmackDown fans down. We here at SmackDown, we're going to show you that wrestling is what matters. So the 8 men competing here for the inaugural championship or television championship will be Edge, Matt Hardy, D'Lo Brown, Jeff Hardy, Farouk Bradshaw, Tajiri, and Mark Henry.
What a tournament!
Oh my goodness!
Oh my lord!
So the first match, the first match of the tournament taking place here tonight is a hoss fight. That is Farouk versus Bradshaw.
Oh boy!
Oh my goodness! Yeah. So what?
So this is just violence.
Yes,
it
is violence.
I love it.
But what it is a respectful display of manhood, of of
Two manly manly competition.
yes. And so I have to take a detour here. We're half hour deep.
Yeah.
And I, representing Stephanie McMahon, have introduced the concept of the television title. And I want to talk about reality. Not our AEW timeline, but the real life. So, in real life, wrestling has lost a real man, Jay Briscoe. But also, Ring of Honor has a television title that I feel like is redundant and unnecessary because, unfortunately, Ring of Honor has no television.
Yeah.
So, I had a realization, I had an awakening, I had a thought, and I said, Mark Briscoe needs to come out on Dynamite. And he needs to bring out both of the tag team titles, and he needs to say, I relinquish these two titles. He doesn't have to say it, he just has to do it. Put them both on the announce table. Before he can turn around and walk away, as the crowd is seeing that this man is hurt, that he has to give up a thing that he won with his brother, Tony Schiavone should stop him and say, Mark, hold on. Yeah, Excalibur, can you run to the back? Can you do this for us? So Excalibur runs to the back, and he brings out, inside of a bag, a title that he hands, or a new title that he hands to Tony Schiavone, who then subsequently pulls the title out of the bag and gifts it to Mark Briscoe. This title is what I'm dubbing the JBL. Not John Bradshaw Layfield.
No, definitely not.
But the Jay Briscoe Legacy Championship. So I quickly threw together a design. It is basically a hybrid of Jay Briscoe's World Championship, you know, the skull from the center,
The reach for the sky.
The reach for the sky, but also because it's one of my favorite designs, the ROH tag title design with the flags on the top.
Oh.
The one that the Kings of Wrestling, the World's Greatest Tag Team, Briscoes, all those have held.
Yeah.
So think of that one, but with the Jay Briscoe skull logo in the center instead of the world.
Okay.
And then the banner below would say Jay Briscoe Legacy Championship. Reason being is, obviously, Mark Briscoe ought not to defend the tag title solo, right? But what do you do? He's not. He didn't lose the tag title. So what we're doing is I'm having Tony Khan. I mean, I'm not booking him, but if I could, I would call Tony Khan and I would say, watch this video because this is what I think you should do. I would have
say hop into the 30-minute mark.
Exactly. Yes, timestamp right there for you. But Tony Khan takes the tag titles to crown new ROH tag champions, but gifts Jay Briscoe with a singles championship. The importance of this is that it will be held or defended under new rules, not the rules of the world title, not the rules of the pure title, but the rules exclusive to the JBL. Those rules are falls count anywhere, and weapons are, I won't say encouraged.
Highly encouraged.
Highly encouraged. And I was inspired to use these rules after watching Adam Cole versus Jay Briscoe in a match without honor.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't give the rules match without honor is because it's a legacy championship, and I just think that it's more befitting to lay out the rules as opposed to say that it's a match without honor.
Yeah.
So, the other thing that this JBL title does is on night one, the first time that Mark Briscoe is handed this title, I want immediately for Samoa Joe to come out and say, with the promo, to Mark Briscoe, I've called myself the king of television, but that is a legacy I'm willing to give up. He lays down the TV title. It is forever retired. He says, I'm willing to give up the title of king of television to carry on the legacy of Jay Briscoe. I want to be your first challenger tonight. So then we have Jay Briscoe versus Samoa Joe, or Mark Briscoe defending the Jay Briscoe Legacy Championship against Samoa Joe, and Mark Briscoe going over on Joe. You could even have Wardlow come out to get his revenge if you must.
Et cetera.
Et cetera, et cetera. But the fact is that Mark Briscoe giving up the tag titles to get a singles title that has new rules, like the pure title and separate from the world title, would then give it purpose additionally to keeping Jay Briscoe's legacy alive, but it gives the matches more variety and a different change of pace. Like I said to Josiah today before we started filming this, I didn't know where this could ever fit in the channel, so I just am using this moment of introducing the TV title to explain how that I would retire the ROH television title and bring in the Ring of Honor Jay Briscoe Legacy Championship.
Love it. I will say, just because I do have a brief moment to talk about Jay Briscoe.
Absolutely.
One of the first ROH matches I ever watched were the Briscoe brothers versus Steen and Generico.
Oh, that's a good place to start.
Really great place to start. And it made me a fan of ROH instantly. So Jay Briscoe, well, he's literally been in ROH since day one.
Yep.
And for me, he's literally was my day one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jay Briscoe is the reason I met so many of my favorite wrestlers that I watch to this day. And it sucked. It sucks so much that he's gone. But the legacy he had in this business can never be forgotten. So just wanted to send love to Jay, send love to his family.
Absolutely.
And tell Mark we love him too.
Absolutely. Yeah. To finish out my SmackDown before we get to his Raw, Jeff Hardy defeats D'Lo Brown. I'm sorry I had to take the L there tonight, but so Farouk advances and Jeff advances.
Well, it's a tough fight, but I did what I could.
But yeah, it's now your go for the Monday Night Raw.
Yes, sir. So we step into Monday Night Raw on 5/13 of 20. I almost did it too.
Yes, it is.
It's 2002.
5/13 of 2002, exactly.
Oh man, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
It's right there.
When it's so recent is part of the problem.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's the real issue. So the show starts with the match that Oz was most excited about. I typed Goldust, but in actuality, it's Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes. Oh, absolutely.
AKA my hardcore champion.
Yes.
Versus Kurt, Olympic gold medalist Hero Angle.
Yes.
Yeah, all those nicknames. I'll work on the nicknames. Don't you worry.
The Wrestling Machine.
Yep. The nickname's going to change after tonight. So
I love this gimmick with the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
I especially liked it when it said Impact.
Yeah,
that was good ads.
That was good stuff. Yeah, Kurt's a smart man, man.
Claudio's doing it right now, actually.
Yeah, and he's doing it excellently.
Yes. Okay, tell me about what's going on tonight.
Yep. So Kurt comes out with Stacy. Before Kurt even gets in the ring, Stacy whispers something into Kurt's ear. Kurt just looks at her and really? He's like, do it. And so Kurt gets in the ring, and the first thing Kurt does...
Is Goldust out there yet, or Dustin, I mean?
Yeah, so
okay.
Dustin came out first. He's opening the show.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is opening the show, so Dustin's getting the returning hero pop.
Okay, that's cool. Just checking.
I probably should have looked up what state this was in.
That's all good.
Because if it was Texas, that would have just been
perfect. I generally only look up where pay-per-views are happening.
Yeah.
Because, Bash the Beach is taking place in Nashville, Tennessee.
See, that's good stuff to know.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
See, all right. Well, in the future, if I feel like it's
we can pretend like it's Texas.
All right, yeah, I was about to say F it, huh? So I don't know if it was Texas or not, but we're going to pretend it is for the sake of the show.
Even if it isn't, let's be real. The Rhodes family, big love. Don't have to be Texas.
Doesn't have to be Texas.
Dustin, excellent.
Love
that guy.
Everyone loves
Cody too, John. Honestly.
Yeah.
Dusty. The whole family. Love ball.
But so as I think we said Lillian last time, Lillian is doing the ring introductions.
Yep.
Announces Dustin as the natural Dustin Rhodes. Kurt immediately snatches on the ankle lock and is yanking because Goldust goes up on the turnbuckle to raise the belt.
Okay, I'm with you.
So Kurt yanks and is destroying the ankle of Goldust before the match starts.
Yes.
And so it's a classic. Ref asks, can you continue? Dustin's like, I'm a stupid babyface. Yes, I can continue.
I wish he'd actually say that.
I mean, Dustin's pretty goofy sometimes,
know, right?
he could, but yeah. So he continues the match, and the whole match is just Kurt focusing on that ankle that he's badly damaged.
Yes.
Of course, you get the hot fire babyface comeback. Dustin is swinging for the fences, hitting bulldogs. Eventually breaks down. Obviously, it's a hardcore match, so there's weapons involved.
Of course.
Yada. Dustin's bleeding like he did against Cody for a visual effect. And he finally gets Kurt in the position for Shattered Dreams. He's loading up. He backs up. Doesn't see Stacy sneak up behind him. Lobo doesn't see it coming. Kurt seizes his opportunity, hits the Olympic slam, rolls him over into the ankle lock, wrenching. Dustin screaming. He's got nothing left. He's crawling to the ropes. Kurt pulls him back. Hits in the scissor, which I don't think he ever did in WWE, but he's going to start doing it now. And Dustin passes out from the pain. We have a new hardcore champion.
I love it. Yeah. And it really, this match really does what I wanted for the entire division. And I hope that we continue to build toward my vision of what I see for that hardcore division.
I feel like it's a healthy mix. I got some stuff in the preceding weeks. I like to give everybody some time on and off the show.
Oh, absolutely.
So they can breathe.
So all I was getting at is, I don't know what you would call this. It's not really a spoiler, but peek behind the curtain.
Right.
I was talking to Josiah about the concept of the hardcore division and how that if Crash Holly can change it from just matches happening in the arena to happening anywhere 24/7,
Right.
why couldn't a wrestler change it again to being the hardcore division means you have to out wrestle me, right? Because that is legitimately
It's more hardcore than wrestling in Olympia.
and so that's legitimately what I wanted when Mick Foley introduced the 24/7 title.
Yeah.
Because there was only one guy I could envision being the first 24/7 champion. Did I ever tell you this?
No. I don't think so.
Well, so the night, the whatever, the first time I saw that title, I didn't hate it. I instantly thought of one man, and I immediately downloaded it in the video game because people always upload stuff immediately.
Right.
So as soon as I downloaded the title, I gave it to AJ Styles because when I think of 24/7 wrestling, when I think of a guy,
You went in a whole different route of this. Okay.
when I think of a guy who says, I don't care if it's day, afternoon, evening, night, the break of dawn, I can out wrestle you, because that's what I thought of when I thought of 24/7, right? I thought of I'm holding this title and there ain't nobody who can take it from me. Much like the Briscoes, AJ can be at his house and say, "Come on down to Georgia," except in their case they were at Sandy Fork, Delaware.
Yeah,
but come on down to
You got the
Georgia
point,
and you can't take this from me, right?
Because you can try.
You can try, exactly. And so that's how I saw, and then it turned into the roll-up belt. So I was
Yeah.
like, come on now.
Well, I kind of figured that was the vibe they were going for when I saw the design. I'm like, man, they put no effort into the side plates. I'm not mad at the green strap because it was something different.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I instantly changed it to a black strap.
Yeah.
And I put, instead of a gold WWE logo, I put a silver with red.
Yeah.
And like I changed it up, but like it was only my wishful thinking. Well, if you got a 24/7 title, then it should go to a guy who can out wrestle you all day, every day.
24/7, 365.
Exactly. But yeah, that's off topic.
Yeah. Well, good stuff all around. What did I just finish with? Okay. So next up, next segment, Lita explains her attack on Jazz. She
Makes sense.
explains that basically it's a short and simple. I want the women's championship. That's why else would I attack Jazz?
Well, not just that, but also the concept that what has I feel like really rubbed Lita and probably all the women wrong is Jazz demonstrating both with her words and actions that she believes she's going to hold this title forever.
Yeah.
And that she has nothing to worry about. Like, she's happy to give you the match,
Yeah.
but she's happy to give you the match because she ain't going to
Yeah.
lose this title.
I'm about to say she's confident in her own ability. She's confident in her competition to
Yes.
keep her sharp.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of like the most important thing, and that's how Jazz views it.
Mm-hmm.
But to Oz's point, Lita does not view it that way.
Exactly.
So Lita demands a rematch for the women's championship, and that's when Ivory, established Jazz's friend, comes in and says she doesn't appreciate Lita's actions and demands a match with her next week on Raw.
Cool.
So Lita says, "F it, I don't care."
I love that you're thinking ahead. You're giving people something to look forward to,
I try.
and yeah, that's just it's good stuff.
I do what I can. Next up, because I forgot that I made this a pay-per-view level Raw. But then I rewatched the tape and I was like, oh man, I really stacked this Raw. Because next up we have RVD versus, yeah, that's right, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, I'm game. Let's do it.
For the United States title. And let's be honest, it's Rob and Chris. They're gonna have a great match by accident.
Absolutely.
So
Hey, let's just do it on the fly.
let's just do it on the fly. So it's pretty back and forth. It pretty much ends with Rob hitting a 5-star frog splash. You know the classics. Chris works for the Walls of Jericho all the time, but the end result is RVD still U.S. champion. A great match, nonetheless. Crowd loves it.
It's gonna be star making when he loses that title to
Oh.
somebody.
Big time, big time. And I already know exactly who I want to do it to. Give it to. I mean,
Cool.
it's gonna be great,
Love it.
and I'm actually really excited to do it. No time soon.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Next up, we have Bossman versus Raven. Little fight. Raven hits the Raven effect on Bossman. Big love to Ray Trailer, though.
Absolutely.
Show.
I mean, but Scott Levy too.
Yeah, exactly. Love them both. Love them both. And then last but not least, the match that we've been building for 2 weeks now. Christian versus Brock Lesnar.
Whew.
So Christian, visibly, is not 100%.
Right.
He's still effed up after the Brock lock. His ligaments, the way the doctors describe it, it's a crucial sprain. So obviously you don't recover from that in 2 weeks. But he said, damn it, the doc cleared me. I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to beat this beast. I'm going to beat the most dangerous man, and I'm going to cement my legacy here on Monday Night Raw.
For Mick Foley.
For Mick.
Cheap pop.
Do it for Mick. And the crowd loses it.
Well, what I mean is, because when he first came out, he said he wasn't going to let him down for
Right.
picking him in the top 5, which still love that.
Exactly. And so Lesnar obviously comes out with Heyman,
Mm-hmm.
and Heyman's talking him up, telling him how great he is, and literally, so Lillian announces.
Also, just
Christian-
remember, he beat Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's right. No, don't worry, we're getting to that. So Lillian introduces Christian. Paul snatches the mic and literally says what you just said. This is the man that decimated Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is the man that decimated other scrubs. The rest of them don't matter.
I think it was Al Snow.
Yeah, Al Snow.
Probably somebody else too.
Al Snow one other person, but I
Yeah.
can't.
It's all good.
Not jumping in my mind right
But
now.
yeah.
But regardless, Brock's been dominant
Yeah.
since day one.
Undefeated.
And today is going to be no different. He hasn't had a match over 10 minutes yet. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be the exact same tonight. And that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. And this is the first time he's wrong.
Oh, good.
So, the match starts out exactly as you would expect. Brock is throwing Christian around, throwing him with suplexes, power bombs, clotheslines. He's pretty much like he did almost exact same beat by beat what he did to Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian is crawling his way up. Brock hits him with a nasty chop block and starts to go for the Brock lock. Christian, though, very intelligently, because you know how with the Brock lock, Brock just slaps the leg on, just stands up.
Mm-hmm.
So Christian rotates his body weight and turns the Brock lock into a roll up.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And gets it too. So Brock obviously has to let go in order to not get pinned.
Exactly, yeah.
And then it's at that point Brock runs full speed to try and kill Christian, and Christian low bridges him, and Brock falls out the ring. Now this is the moment Brock's starting to get heated.
Well, that, and I bet this is about that time where it becomes the longest match of his career.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels right.
Yeah, it feels like the right moment. Christian's the right guy to do it. Brock's heated. Paul Heyman's trying to calm him down. Like, okay, listen, don't let him get to you. Don't let him get to you. You're better than this guy. 7 days out of the week, you were the man. Now get back in there, focus up, and end this.
Which is amazing because now in 2023, and before obviously, but
Right.
like in the now, everybody knows that Christian is one of the most talked up talents
Yeah.
in the industry. They're like,
it's footwork, man.
yeah, it's like this guy can give you your best match and you never saw it coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And so yeah, I think that's smart that you're establishing it this early.
Exactly. So there's more back and forth, but basically Brock is just being outsmarted by Christian.
Mm-hmm.
Christian's showing his intelligence as he better, which is pretty much the high point of his whole career. Like every time I watch Christian, I'm always thinking, God damn it, this man's so smart. He's such a he does the little things so well.
Absolutely.
And that's what he's doing in this match here. And there are moments he's going for the killer switch. He's trying to get the finish, but the knee gives out on him. It's not working.
Well, and Brock's so dang strong.
Yep. Brock's so powerful. So at one point he goes for the kill switch. Brock breaks out, snaps him, and throws him for a German. And the match ends. So Christian again goes for the Unprettier. Brock kind of flips him out of it. He lands on his feet, but again the knee. And then Paul says, "Do it now, now, now!" And Brock actually listens to Paul at this point. So he grabs him, snatches him up in an F5, and hits like, you know those F5s when he like used to just throw them.
Yep.
Yeah. So he launched.
There was a commercial once where he threw a shark.
Oh yeah, I did
in the
see
SummerSlam promotion.
Yeah, what was that, SummerSlam 2012 or something?
I don't know, but
13.
whatever it was,
Yeah.
it was just like that's what I envisioned when he talked about Brock throwing.
Yeah, it was Sharknado basically.
Exactly.
But
Except this time it's Christian. Exactly.
Poor Christian. But Christian gets launched with the F5. Brock pins him, and this is at least a 25-minute match.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
Yeah. So not only did Christian go well over double the amount of time Brock's ever been in the ring, but he almost beat him multiple times, which is pretty much the point I want to get across. And obviously, since that happened, Brock's pissed.
Yeah,
He's
of
upset.
course.
Now, he's not gassed by any stretch of the
Oh,
imagination.
yeah, he's Brock Lesnar.
He's a freak of nature.
Yes.
He probably could have gone another 25 minutes.
he's like, I'm only mad for by the principle of the matter, not that I couldn't do
You
it.
made Paul Heyman a liar, damn it.
Exactly.
So Brock immediately straps on the Brock lock on Christian's injured leg, and he's wrenching and trying to destroy him, and Paul's like, end his career. And that's when the glass shatters.
Oh.
And out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Austin's stomping out, doing...
Yeah.
You know Austin.
You know. He
know
calls
Austin.
it the BMF walk.
Exactly. And he arrives, raises hell, and leaves, basically. He comes in, and he's doing his Austin punches.
You're what, 2 weeks away from him being done?
Yep. Oh, no, sorry. It's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3
Okay.
weeks away
I
from
knew
him.
it wasn't. I knew it wasn't far.
Oh, it's not long. That's why this is
you gotta pull that trigger.
Yeah. And Brock, Austin goes for a stunner. Brock pushes off and rolls out of the ring. He's trying to get back in, but Paul's like, no, not now, not now. This isn't the moment. This isn't the moment.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that entire show.
Yep. So I got a couple more things. So Austin grabs the mic. First of all, he hypes up Christian and says, what a guy.
Right.
What a legend. This man did something I couldn't even do. So please give him the respect that he deserves.
That's big praise right there.
Yep. Christian obviously can't stand. Austin's still a little wobbly himself from his injury.
Yep.
Because he's only been gone a few weeks.
Yes.
But he says...
Well, and Austin knows what it's like to have bad knees.
Exactly. His knees were messed up before the Brock lock.
Exactly.
But basically, Austin says, I'll be damned if I go out like that. I'll be damned if that's the last thing people see me for. So Brock Lesnar, in 3 weeks, I demand a rematch, and we're gonna go 1-on-1 in the main event of Monday Night Raw, and it will be no holds barred.
I love it. So that is a sexy show right there.
Thank you.
That's a sexy show. But while we're talking about shows, I gotta rewind back to 5/9 of 2002 because I got off on my JBL rant. I got off on my TV title rant. I forgot to tell you that on the show. So I told you that Jeff Hardy beat D'Lo Brown. I told you that Farouk beat Bradshaw. But Mark Henry also defeats Tajiri on the episode.
Oh, okay.
That's important because here on the SmackDown before, on the SmackDown before Bash the Beach, Edge defeats Matt Hardy. Farouk is beaten decisively by Mark Henry, and so Edge actually has to wrestle 2 matches on the night because he is wrestling both Hardys actually.
Right.
And so Edge overcomes Jeff Hardy, and in the main event of this episode of SmackDown, leading into Bash the Beach, William Regal, because of his time constraints and his manipulation of when he won the title, he defends his title, his Intercontinental Championship, against Billy Kidman,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason the way that he retains is by adding Test to his posse. Because unfortunately, we're done with Mr. Perfect. He got let go after the plane ride from hell.
Got it.
And so Test is now another disciple along with Lance Storm to learn under his lordship's tutelage.
Of course.
So let's jump to this that Sunday, 5/19 of 2002. Here, SmackDown crowns the first ever AEW television champion when Mark Henry defeats Edge.
What?
Yes. So Mark Henry, the last man drafted, defeats Edge on Sunday. What happens is after the match, Mark Henry he cuts an impassioned promo. He says, 29. I was chosen as the 29th man in the first ever draft here for Alpha Entertainment Worldwide.
Right.
No one thought I was worth a damn, but now you'll see I broke the Japanese buzzsaw. I crushed the originator of the nation. And tonight I taught Edge that he still has a lot to learn. For years I've been called the world's strongest man, but from here on out, you're going to know that I, Mark Henry, am the world breaker. And so that's important because so the tournament seemed made for Edge, right? He was cheated out of the
That's why
outsmarted out of the Intercontinental
Yeah.
title. And he had to defeat both Hardys in one night,
Yeah.
which was only 2 nights before, or 3 nights before this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So it was on a Thursday, so Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday.
Yep.
And so it was like, oh, Edge is gonna go over, right?
Has
Babyface,
to.
get that title.
Big babyface moment.
Nah,
Yeah.
we gonna put over Mark Henry.
Well, that was the vibe I was getting when I was listening to it. So the fact that I like that because the fact that you went and said, no, it's Mark Henry's time. He's gonna
Absolutely. Well, and see, so here's the other beautiful thing. So I wanted to keep a couple of elements of reality in place, and I knew that to keep things on track, I had to keep Edge in that Intercontinental title division because there's a thing coming up later in the year with him and Eddie. And I was like, man, I really want to keep that. That was some beautiful stuff. I mean, we can. I just want to keep it.
Okay, let me put it this way. Why would we?
Oh, exactly. So let me go over the rest of the card. So Lance Storm takes on Billy Kidman, Eddie Guerrero, and Test. What?
Oh man, that's fun.
Yeah. So this fatal 4-way is to determine William Regal's next challenger when the clock says that he must defend.
Right.
Eddie Guerrero goes over in the 4-way. Once again, like I said, a spoiler. It's because I know where I'm going with Eddie and Edge later.
Nice.
We have Terry Runnels versus Tori Wilson. It's not a good wrestling match, but whatever. We do a wrestling match.
I have to get it in there.
Tori goes over. Matt and Jeff Hardy, who both lost to Edge on SmackDown, take on XL Factor for the Cruiserweight Tag Team titles. And due to interference from Albert and the Big Show, XL Factor retain.
Good stuff.
I forgot that I booked this.
What?
I forgot that I booked this, but I'm so happy. So, there were 2 gentlemen in the draft that I drafted back to back. One of which made perfectly good logical sense. That man is Big Evil.
Okay, I know.
He is he was known as Big Evil, the Red Devil, Dead Man Inc., The Undertaker, right?
Red.
Exactly. So, but here in my universe, post the Hardy Boys losing, post the Hardy Boys getting cheated out of the tag titles,
Right.
They are going up the ramp. Excuse me, XL Factor are still in the ring.
Right.
But before the Hardys can pass through the curtain, or the stageway, you hear the Undertaker's music, but you also hear the rev of not just 1 but 2 motorcycles. And blowing by the Hardy Boys are not just the Undertaker, but also Chuck Palumbo.
Ah.
And so, much like how I have William Regal being the mentor to Lance Storm and Test, I have the Undertaker being the mentor to Chuck Palumbo. because in reality, in the real world, Chuck Palumbo has his own custom bike shop.
Right.
And for a time, he also had the motorcycle gimmick where he was linked up with Michelle McCool, The Undertaker's future and current wife.
Yeah. Was that, I don't remember what year that was. Was that 04?
No, it was actually 08, but I'm just
Okay.
getting there much quicker.
Got it.
Because Palumbo, I thought, had a great look. He had good talent, and what he needed was to be taken legitimately, not put into funny haha spots with Billy Gunn.
Right.
And so what I do is, like I said, I have these two guys, The Undertaker, which everybody knows and respects, and
Right.
Chuck Palumbo, who's freaking humongous,
Right.
drive by the Hardy Boys, ride down to the ring, park their bikes, get into the ring. X-Pac and Justin Credible take their titles and powder out.
Like somebody with a brain.
They go eye to eye with Albert and the Big Show because all
Someone
these
say
guys,
Hoss fight?
all these guys are big boys, right?
Yeah.
But we don't actually have that match, and the reason being is XL Factor are cowards,
Ah.
and so they also leave the ring. They scurry off with the tag team champions.
Right.
So the Undertaker grabs the mic, and he says, "Everybody knows I'm the American Badass. Everybody knows I run Dead Man Inc. But from here on out, I'm running with my deadly rider, Chuck Palumbo." And he is actually going to gift him the name Big Evil. He said, "This right here, this is truly Big Evil."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "We are laying it down. We're laying down a challenge. Whoever isn't a coward, whoever isn't running from a fight, but running to a fight, come out here because we're bringing the fight." And that's when you hear the APA's music hit, because just like they laid into each other, and because they're honestly real life friends with the Undertaker.
Exactly. So it makes sense.
so they come out, and the APA, they man up. They stand up to Palumbo and the Undertaker, but they also fall down to the team that I'm dubbing the Deadly Riders, and that the Undertaker dubbed the Deadly Riders, because we're pushing Chuck Palumbo. Me and Stephanie are pushing
as a unit.
yeah, me and Stephanie are pushing Chuck Palumbo and the Undertaker as to the moon, exactly. So, after that, we go to Cruiserweight action where Crash Holly takes on the Hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
Post match, he gets a love letter telegram, or like a lovegram, because I remembered that I didn't have to, but I chose to keep a storyline going that I enjoyed.
Right,
that was pure cheese. So I already told you that this occurred, but in the semi-main event, Mark Henry wins the newly minted television title and cuts the promo.
Right.
But in the so post semi-main event, we have The Rock coming out for a promo segment where all he does is promote himself because he's The Rock.
I can't believe it. I'm shocked.
So what he does, though, is here in this segment, he says that he won in the main event at WrestleMania. He beat the immortal Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, because that's how we did it in our world.
Correct.
And he says that he has gone to the president of Alpha Entertainment Worldwide, and he's been granted the main event spot in,
Nice of Rick.
in Columbus, Ohio, at King of the Ring. And it doesn't matter who wins tonight at Bash on the Beach in the main event, whether it's the immortal Hulk Hogan or the cerebral assassin Triple H. Either one of them, whoever's defending, they're gonna lose and they're gonna get beat down. They're gonna drop that undisputed title to The Rock at King of the Ring. So
If you smell what the Rock is cooking,
exactly, exactly, all the spiel. So Rock leaves. Hollywood Hulk Hogan comes out. He then loses to Triple H for the undisputed title. And the reason I'm doing this is because in the real timeline, Vince got that itch for nostalgia. He got that. He heard the pop and he said, "Oh,
rash."
he said we got to strap up Hulk." But we know that the business didn't improve under Hulk. So what I do is I keep the title on Triple H.
Exactly. Why waste the time in it?
And so in the main event of Bash the Beach, Hulk Hogan loses to Triple H because Triple H loved him some WCW.
Boy, did he.
And so let's put him over in the first ever Alpha Entertainment Worldwide Bash at the Beach.
Love it.
And I'm a big fan of this pay per view.
Yeah,
Mark
great
Henry's
stuff
getting
all
pushed.
around, man.
XL Factor win, but also prove that they're still cowards. The Deadly Riders are big time.
Yeah, I know you've been a big fan of Chuck Palumbo, so I know you've been excited.
Absolutely.
About
My only problem with this plan, but don't worry, I work
you-
my way around
you
it.
gotta
But
get
my
a
only
solution.
problem with this plan is I don't have heavyweight tag titles.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I have a plan. I have a solution, and actually, God, I can't wait till we get to it. I can't wait till we get to it because I'll just wait. Let's just wait.
Yeah, let's say, give it time.
In November, we do some really good work between Taker and Palumbo. Whew, good stuff. But yeah,
Good stuff.
so that is the conclusion of Bash the Beach. It is now time for Monday Night Raw
Yes, sir.
on 5/20 of 2002.
All right, well, following that immaculate pay per view. That's great.
I mean,
I would have loved to see that.
you're gonna love any pay per view where Hulk Hogan's shoulders are pinned to the mat.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Doesn't take much to please me. I'm a simple man.
You know what you like.
Yeah, I know what I like, damn it. So we start the show off with Chris Jericho versus Scotty 2 Hotty, who obviously comes out with Big Quiche.
Cool.
Jericho wins.
Yeah, makes sense.
But he doesn't win the way you think he does. You see, during the match, there's some back and forth. The crowd's getting excited. Scotty hits the Bulldog. Everyone knows what's coming next. WORM. And then there's fire that shoots up from the ring post,
Oh crap!
which scares Scotty half to death.
No kidding.
And behind Big Quiche is Kane.
Okay.
Kane, let's be honest, y'all know the gimmick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Snatches Quiche by the neck, gets that big body up for a choke slam, slams him down.
We're on the outside, right?
Yep, on the
Ooh,
outside.
wow.
On the hard, unforgiving mats. Scotty, of course, concerned for his friend. Really concerned. And Chris Jericho sneaks up from behind. I don't know if you remember Jericho's old finisher with the full Nelson, like
Yeah,
the
it's
Miz
Skull
Skull
Crusher
Crushing
finale.
finale.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of who does it now.
Yep, Miz.
The Miz.
Yeah.
But yeah, hits the skull crushing finale, puts Scotty in the walls of Jericho. Scotty taps out. But so after the match, Jericho says, I haven't been having the best of luck lately. That's okay, because the one thing everyone knows about Chris Jericho is I always evolve. And my next evolution involves big man right here.
Oh wow. So we're doing basically Jericho, but early and with Kane. That's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah, I figured it'd be best because I can't have Jericho win the U.S. title right now. And I already know who I want to
Sure.
take the U.S. title from Rob, so
Well, and here's the other thing: you just lost the outsider, so you
Yep.
need
I need
somebody to rely on.
Yep, I need a fresh tag team that can do some damage, and Kane can do damage, if nothing else. And Jericho, he has the star power. Kane doesn't even have to talk.
Yes.
So, I figured it made sense.
Again, that's why it feels like Jericho.
Exactly.
Man, do you have a name for him? Because I'm going over it in my head.
I was about to say, you got a good name.
I don't yet, but like I'm
But-
going over it in my head. So the Ayatollah of rock and roll, right?
Right.
And the devil's favorite demon.
Yep.
So I was going over these. I mean, they got tons of nicknames,
I
but
was
you know,
about to say,
Big Red Machine.
thousands.
Yeah. Oh my. So yeah, I think that it can be done, and I like the idea. So I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of this.
I was about to say, it's good stuff. I've been having Kane pretty much maul over. Like, he's been winning aside from his one match with Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Because you gotta have that champion strong so that when he loses it matters.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the opening of the show. Next segment, we have my man, Hurricane Shane Helms, Ace Reporter,
Exactly.
interviewing the brand new hardcore champion. Kurt Angle comes out and
Dude, I gotta design a new title for this.
Yeah.
Because the old one, the Dustin
Does not
was
work.
Texas.
Yeah, very
based,
Texas.
right?
Yep.
And so I'm gonna definitely work on something.
Well, you got time
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
before
Yeah.
this goes out.
before it goes live. But yeah, so Kurt comes out with Stacy, and Stacy introduces him as the hardcore hero, Kurt
Woo.
Angle. And Kurt, obviously, it's Kurt, so you already know what's about to happen. He's talking all kinds of trash, talking down to Dustin, who is currently injured with an
Of
ankle
course.
injury.
Yeah.
Talking about how he had a nice little cute reign with the hardcore title, but now it's his time, and he's gonna make this championship the premier championship of Monday Night Raw, and it's gonna start next week because Kurt Angle will only be accepting premier challengers, and no, it's not Tony Nese.
Okay.
I realize I keep saying
I mean,
Premier.
yeah.
But
Well, I mean, he's what, probably 5 at this point? My goodness.
yeah, yeah, that's probably actually right where he was. But yes, so he'll be having Premier Challenger starting next week. So his first challenger for the hardcore title in his vision will be next week.
Okay.
So
So he doesn't announce who it is?
no,
Okay. But is he handpicking or?
guard his hand pick.
Okay, good, cool. Just checking.
Don't worry, it'll be funny when it happens.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's see. Next up, we get a after Helms sees off. Kurt says, "Bye, buddy." He sends it over.
Hope you find your dad.
Yeah, pretty much. That's great. He he sends it over to Mick Foley for a little bit more of a serious moment, talking about the Christian medical update and his condition. So as of right now,
I think that's a perfect position for Mick because everybody knows he is familiar with medical professionals.
Yeah, big time. He's probably more well versed in it than most people should ever be in their lives.
You ever read his book? He's got a big long list of reasons that he's gone to see them.
Exactly. And Mick's just in like the backstage interview area, just to give you context of where he's at. And he's just saying Christian's hurt. We don't know how bad it is right now, but they're saying it might be a month, it might be longer. It really just depends on how his recovery goes. The knee isn't torn as of yet, but it's really close. So.
Well, and we know that, especially with Cody Rhodes as an example, athletes can exacerbate injuries that they received in ring by working out.
Exactly.
Because they just can't stop themselves.
Yeah, it's because it's muscle memory. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Like, it takes 21 days to make a habit, and then once you have that habit, it sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those situations. So that's how that occurs. But so Mick gives that quick medical update, and that's when Paul comes in, kind of sneering and jarring and telling Mick, "All right, you had your moment in the sun. Get out of here so I can talk about my guy, the most dangerous man, the next big thing, and a future king of the ring."
Oh,
that's right.
Declaring it.
So I didn't even talk to Mick Foley. I went straight to the top. I talked to the press. I talked to the Nature Boy. I talked to Ric Flair. And it is guaranteed, due to his dominance and unwavering success, Brock Lesnar is the first man in the King of the Ring tournament. You're welcome. And Paul hands the mic to Brock, and Brock, before he can even speak, is attacked by Austin.
Oh, nice.
And Austin is whooping him, and in the immortal words of JR, beating him like a scalded dog. There's a fight back and forth, and it's a classic pull-apart brawl situation. Right. So they got the goobers, they got security, they got refs, just trying to keep these men apart and, cut the commercial. Classics.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so that was a little heavy stuff. So, of course, we're going to go back to a goofy segment. So we have the Guru, DDP. My man. Talking to Billy, talking to Stasiak, saying you guys are doing much better. So they've progressed. So last week we did your gimmick where they're helping each other.
Yep.
Now they're able to kind of do it on their own. So.
Oh my goodness! Let's just, if you're okay with it.
What?
He literally has T-shirts for his DDP yoga that say "Positively Unstoppable."
Oh, that's great.
So why not just use his actual gimmick, and I'll pop that up.
Yeah.
the gimmick that says "Positively
That
Unstoppable."
Is great because
that's a great tag team name right there.
That's phenomenal.
That's a great tag team name right there.
My man.
Thank you.
That's why you're the man. Because literally, I was gonna mull this over for a month before I could figure something out. So positively unstoppable, and you know what? That's what he says. That's the line. Like, by the time I'm done with you, you'll be positively unstoppable.
Love it.
And then he does the leg thing, and Billy and Stasiak do the leg thing behind him. And we're moving. We're moving now. And then last but not least, my main event of the evening. Lita versus Ivory.
Woo!
And this is a nice little back and forth match. They competitive little action. It ends with Lita hitting the moonsault and getting the win on Ivory is basically what you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So after the match is over, Lita attacks Ivory. She's stomping around, she's beating her down, and then she gets a chair. And she puts Ivory's arm into the chair and Pillmanizes it.
Okay, yeah.
And Ivory, of course, writhing in pain, screaming at the top of her lungs. She's hurt. It's bad. It's bad. And we cut backstage, and we see the Jazz is trapped in her locker room. The locker room's been barricaded, and she can't get out.
You know what I love?
What?
I was envisioning this even before you said it. I was like, so as soon as you said the chair thing, I was like, something's preventing Jess from getting to the ringside.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's absolutely trapped. She can't get out. She's trying to kick the door, and Lita, of course, sees this on the Big Tron and she laughs because she knows why it happened.
Yes.
But we'll learn more about that next week.
Yes, I love it. So, I did not book a pay-per-view quality SmackDown. But what I did do was I dedicated the final 20 minutes of SmackDown to the main event match because, as was promised by Stephanie McMahon, even though the title was only won on Sunday, well, tonight on SmackDown, Mark Henry must defend in the main event his newly minted Alpha Entertainment Worldwide Television Championship. And his challenger is not announced in advance, but the important thing is Mark Henry could not care less who comes out, because Mark Henry is out to prove that he's going from 29 to number 1.
I love it.
He's going from the last pick to the unquestionable face of SmackDown.
Love it.
And so now granted, I said that the match has 20 minutes, so he comes out at like 25 minutes left of the show. Because, somebody going to get their ass kicked, somebody going to get the wig split. So he makes his interest.
Still one of the best theme songs ever, man. Love
And
it.
before we cut to the final break of the show, we hear, well, it's the Big Show. So, so Big Show makes his way out. They do the title raise, the confrontation. They say after this final 60-second break, we'll be back and we're going to have the World Breaker versus the world's largest athlete.
Love it.
So commercial break ends. We come back and Mark Henry is demolishing the Big Show.
Ooh.
There's no question about it. I know it's 20 minutes. I know I said it was 20 minutes, but there's not 1 minute of this match that is, like I said, commercial free, that it ever even appears like Brock Lesnar. That the Big Show
whole different scenario.
can take out, that can take out or take down Mark Henry, because
this is a one-sided ass.
because Mark Henry is so, like I said, slighted. He's so insulted, and he's so out to prove that there is no question about it. The only time in this match that something becomes questionable is when we have the arrival of Albert, Justin Credible, and X-Pac.
Waiting for that.
So the only thing is that when Justin Credible gets on the apron, Mark Henry looks at him. He doesn't touch him. He just looks at him, and Justin Credible gets down. He's like, "No, I don't want none of that."
Fear that goes through his body.
And so much like the Shield used to do, we then see Sean Waltman, X-Pac, get up on another side of the apron, and Mark Henry looks at him, and he snarls, and X-Pac's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna take my tag title, and I'm gonna leave."
You the man, baby. You the man.
And so in the final 2 minutes, Albert stands up on a different side of the apron, and Mark Henry doesn't give him a facial expression. He walks up, gets eye to eye with him. As Albert goes to strike Mark Henry, he blocks and he knocks Albert off of the apron. At this point, Mark Henry turns around. Big Show is running towards him, but Mark Henry is so strong that he can scoop him up. Mark Henry is now holding the Big Show and falls forward for the World's Strongest Slam.
The scary part is I can totally see this happening.
He doesn't hook the leg. What Mark Henry does is he presses him to do a push-up.
Yeah.
Looks dead in the eyes of the camera. 1, 2, 3. Mark Henry says 29-1. Because that's what he's proving. Is he may have been chosen 29th, but he's going to be the number 1 guy on SmackDown.
Oz, man, this is why I love working with you, man, because that's a great ass T-shirt.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
And so the other development that happens on the show is the Hurricane is doing a interview with Josh Matthews, and during the interview he gets a delivery of roses and chocolates.
Aww.
And so that's not as nearly as important, but I just want to
Just
pass
toss it in
along.
there. Just
And because like that main event, that me promoting and preserving and showing that Mark Henry is I mean, this was the best shape he's ever been in his entire life. Why they didn't capitalize on, I'll never know. And we all know from years later when his hair had receded and he was in not as good a shape, he can be a main eventer. So just do it now when his hair's right and his body's good. Like, come on now.
it only makes sense, man.
And so it's time for Raw. I believe this will be the final Raw of May, correct?
Correct.
All right. So time for the final Raw of the month of May.
Got it. So this is the Raw on 5/27.
That is correct.
2002.
Yes.
I got there. Don't you worry. So we open the show, but what everybody's been waiting for, the hardcore hero, Kurt Angle, coming out to defend his hardcore championship for the first time. He's obviously got Stacy in tow. She's got her laptop, and she's got it planted down in the ring. No advice this time. No advice. So obviously speaks to the confidence of, our hardcore hero.
Mm-hmm.
And out comes Joe Schmo. Just some random jobber. Run of the mill, could have picked him up at Walmart type of guy.
I know that guy. I saw him at the indie show,
Yeah.
and then I saw him at the Walmart, and I was like, yeah.
And you're like, you're happy for him. It's like, this kid thinks it's his big break. He thinks it's his moment. And Kurt grabs the microphone from the announcer, says, I got this. What's your name, kid? And he's like, I'm Joe Schmo. I'm the next big thing. I'm the hottest act in wherever the fuck they're at. I don't know where they're at that week. But
How far away are we from the Ruthless Aggression moment?
about 3 weeks.
No way.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, John Cena's debut?
3 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's that close to
which
King of the Ring?
Which is why I'm doing that.
Oh, that's great. I couldn't
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, no, because I looked it up beforehand, and hold up, let me see if I can find the exact date, because I had it.
Oh, actually, John himself talked about it when promoting the release of WWE 2K23, because that match, Kurt versus John from SmackDown, is the first match in his showcase, because this year 2K23 showcase is the first ever. Every match in the showcase is a loss by the spotlighted wrestler.
I get it, because John never loses.
Well, no, because he never gives up. That was their
Ah.
mentality. It said, how good is it, or how important is it to say never give up if you don't lose? So the showcase is highlighting all the times that he has lost but not given up.
You know what, that's actually, I gotta give him props.
Yeah,
That's
the developers
good.
were really smart. And
Okay.
have you seen the matches in this dang thing? So him and Kurt, obviously.
Clear.
Then One Night Stand, him and Rob Van Dam. Him versus Brock for the title, where Brock demolishes him. Him and Taker at Mania. Him and Rock at Mania. There's speculation that it'll be him and Edge in Boston.
Okay.
But that's not confirmed, because that's how they do, is they trickle it out. But what did you find out when you looked up his debut?
So he debuted on SmackDown on June 27th of 2022.
Oh my, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
we're at May 27th. You said.
Yeah, it's literally the show, as we're on May 27th.
So it's the next
King of the
month.
Ring is, hold up, I'm looking it up,
Okay.
23.
Yep.
So I'm just going to have him debut on that Raw.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's,
Perfect.
And it's literally going to be beat by beat, the exact same segment, but with Stacy Keibler out there and with the hardcore title.
Yeah.
So, spoilers,
Yeah, I love it though.
but
So it's so funny. I made while we're spoiling things, I made 2 requests of Josiah. I said I need these 2 wrestlers. One of which has already shown up in our universe. That is Eddie Guerrero.
Right.
And the other man is spoiler, cause whatever. It's coming. Not next episode, but the episode after that. So spoiler.
okay.
I get Rey Mysterio.
Yes,
It was hard to convince the Josiah of letting me have Rey.
for obvious reasons.
For obvious reason being he loves Rey Mysterio, but I said I will give you John Cena and anybody else you want because I need to run a couple of storylines, and these 2 guys are very important for it. And so
So he convinced me eventually, and I did concede. So I figured this was probably going to be the best way to.
I love it, dude, because it's a great introduction.
Yeah. So and we said earlier in the video, there's some things that we could change it,
But why?
But why?
I know, right?
Like-
yeah, the big changes instead of having it on SmackDown happens on Raw. Oh,
yeah.
buddy.
Oh darn. And it's for the hardcore title instead of for nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it was like an open challenge. with
It
Kurt
was,
Angle,
but it was
anyway.
it's the same general concept
Yeah.
of Kurt highlighting the locals and highlighting himself more specifically.
which is the most important part.
Yeah.
So the match ends. Kurt just ankle locks the dude. It doesn't even scissor. Just like literally
Of
2
course,
seconds
they're-
in, takes him down with a basic
Yeah, no-
ankle pick, and then straight into the ankle lock.
Well,
That's the match.
and the thing I love about the way that he won the title and this first defense is it helps solidify the way I see this hardcore division, which is, like I said, the way that I saw or wanted to see the 24/7 division, which is the prove that you're better at wrestling than me division.
Pretty much.
And Kurt is the guy to make people question their manhood.
And I thought the truth.
And so, yeah, no, I'm a big fan, and I'm just a big fan.
Yeah, obviously. So Stacy, so I forgot to mention this because it doesn't technically matter, but it's gonna start being a thing. You know how Paul always holds the championship; he never gives it over.
Yes.
To Stacy's gonna hold the hardcore title at
Love
all
it.
times. So she'll never relinquish it to anybody. Literally, Kurt will hand it to the ref, and the ref will hand it to Stacy.
Okay.
So it's just for visual sake. It literally doesn't mean anything, but I like the visual. So.
Well, and I like the visual, like we talked about last episode, of her wearing the business suit, the glasses, having the laptop, because it's actually manageable nowadays.
Yeah, right.
Those days, unlike it was with Alexandria York. I think that's why her boys never won titles, because she couldn't carry them both.
Yeah, I'm about to say-
She can't carry the laptop and the title.
That's ice cold. That's ice cold, man.
But yeah, so
Man. But yeah, so they celebrate. Kurt obviously sells it like, oh my god, what a taxing effort. But I did it, baby, I did it. And I am going to be your hardcore hero for life, and I will take this championship to new heights.
Oh my goodness!
What's
You
up?
remember how I said I was gonna? You know how I said I was gonna redesign the hardcore title?
Yeah.
I don't have to.
You don't have to.
I don't have to. Have you ever been to wildcatbelts.com?
Yeah, actually.
Kurt Angle has his own custom championship on wildcatbelts.com. I'm going to pop that up right now, and that is the hardcore title, your hardcore hero championship going forward. I think it says Kurt Angle American Hero on the title. Perfect. It's freaking perfect.
Beautiful. Hold up, man. He's going to pop it up now. Damn, what a great belt.
I know, right?
Man, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, it's nice.
I believe. Well, good stuff. Kurt obviously is the man
Yes.
in his own mind, and
But legitimately too.
legitimately yes,
Yeah.
but for the sake of the
The
story,
storyline, yes.
in his own mind,
Yes.
and in Stacy's mind, which is what matters. Yeah, so they walk off, patting themselves on the back. What a great night for them. Kurt says you will continue bringing in premium challengers week after week until he gets bored. And then next up, we have a continuation of last week. Kane, who comes out with Chris Jericho, versus Rikishi, who comes out with Scotty. Kane picks up the win here against Big Keish. Tough match. Keish brings him up for the Samoan driver. Kane is able to wriggle out after a Jericho distraction and nails the choke slam. Good match. Wraps it up pretty early.
Right.
After that, we have just the Dudleys backstage bragging about retiring Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, which, to be fair, if I retired Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, I'd talk about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't blame them. They're very adamant that they have been the most dominant tag team, not just now, not just in the history of AEW, but period.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what company you look at us in, WCW, ECW, WWF, we were the tag team, and there's no argument about it. And that's going to long may we reign. There are no challengers that can beat us, and that is when Mick Foley comes in the shot. He's like, well, I'll concede that you guys have had a great run. You guys have been holding these championships with pride. You've been impressing everyone. And so I think the next challengers that you guys have to face for this championship should have to earn it. So we will be having a 6-team tag team tournament. So 6 teams
Yes.
tag team tournament. didn't want to make it sound like I said 16. I don't
Yes.
have that many people.
Absolutely.
So
But we are expanding as the year goes on.
right.
Yes.
But since we haven't expanded yet.
Yes, that is true.
So I'll go ahead and break down the brackets now because Mick says it next week, but I probably won't remember to type it next time we come on. So
That's good thinking. That's good thinking.
yep. So the tournament literally will be the first round. Too Cool gets a bye as they're the winningest tag team outside of the Dudley Boys.
Well, that and they have longevity as a team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is the justification for their bye. Holly and Saturn also have a bye as they were the last team that weren't the outsiders to challenge for the tag titles.
Cool.
So they also have a bye. And then you have your first two tournament matches. Chris Jericho and Kane take on Stevie Richards and Goldust.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the
Oh,
Positive
wait.
Unstoppable.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Can it be Dustin Rhodes and Steven Richards?
Sure.
Because I would like to call them R&D Solutions. Dustin and Richards. So that's the R&D, right? Richards and
Gotcha.
Dustin Solutions. Because I wanted to put together a team on my own bracket called R&D Solutions, being Rodney Mack and D'Lo Brown. But it turns out they were like ships in the nights passing. So
Barely missed
Teddy Long was managing D'Lo Brown. He
I'm-
got let go, and then he picked up Rodney Mack. I was like,
Dang,
dang it! I
that-
wanted to call them
that's-
R&D Solutions.
That timing was rough.
Yeah. So I'll give it to Dustin Rhodes and Steven Richards if you'll take it.
Yeah, I mean they're not gonna be a tag team for long. It's literally just for a little bit.
I
but-
just think it's a cool name for
but
a
I
tag
mean,
team.
it works, so I can definitely make it happen.
Well, and here's the funny thing. Let's say that Dustin just likes the name so much that he every time he sees somebody with R, Richards. R&D Solutions,
R&D.
Raven R&D Solutions, Rhino R&D Solutions. Let's do it.
My God, this is gonna be great. All right, got it. Made the change, and then we also changed DDP, Stasiak, and Gunn to
Positively
Perfect,
unstoppable. Positively unstoppable. Yes.
Unstoppable.
Yeah. Like I said, that's just a phrase that he uses currently, so I think that it works well for the past as well.
Perfect.
So, yeah, no, I just love tag team names. You know, whether it's the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm about to say, great tag team name takes you a long way.
absolutely.
So I'll reiterate, Too Cool by Holly Saturn by Jericho and Kane versus R&D Solutions, and then Positively Unstoppable versus Al Snow and Big Boss.
Cool.
So-
My goodness, that's a heck of an alliance because they used to have a blood feud over a dog
Yep.
and a kennel from hell.
Yep. So they buried the hatchet, had a nice little conversation, and said life's too short. Let bygones be bygones. So they decided to team up for this tag team tournament.
Law-abiding head. Oh my goodness.
Man, don't Google search that. All right. But that is.
At least I didn't say barely legal.
You're right. You at least
And then finish the
Yeah,
thought that
yep, I
I'm
got
sure
you.
everybody's figuring out.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's the tag tournament.
Yes.
The tournament will conclude the week before. Not the week before, the show before
King of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
And then
the
they
match will happen at King of the Ring.
very nice.
Next up, Jazz comes out and states, "I don't know how you locked me in that locker room when you were in the match because the door was not locked when you left.
Right.
But it was when you were attacking my friend. So I don't know what you did, but I am going to get to the bottom of this."
Magic.
Exactly. Magic.
It was Papa Shango.
Even in the company right now?
No, I'm just kidding.
But about to say on borderline, I was like, that would be funnier.
It would be funny, but it's
Because-
not possible.
Because the idea that I have is practical, but god damn, that would be funny. But
I feel like anytime we get past an hour and a half, it gets crazy.
oh yeah, no, that's because we get loopy, and I think we're both sleep deprived.
Yes.
So
That's how this episode started, actually.
pretty much. She said she doesn't care. It doesn't matter. The point is, she wants to get revenge for what she did to Ivory last week. And challenges accepts Lita's previous challenge for a match at King of the Ring.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I'll say that for later episode. So yeah, so that's all for that segment.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Rob Van Dam comes out and kind of insults Kurt Angle for his ridiculous open challenge that he had last week. But it did give him a great idea.
Who is this?
Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam. Yeah. Okay.
My U.S. champ.
Yes.
Rob Van Dam comes out and says, Kurt did have a joke open challenge last week as your new hardcore champion, but it did give me a great idea. You see, I am Rob Van Dam, and as your United States champion, I'm better than everybody else in this roster. I am the top champion, which means I can take anyone on and beat them no problem. So I'm starting the first week of the one-of-a-kind open challenge. So, this week is answered by Stevie Richards. Why, you ask? I just want to see Rob Van Dam versus Stevie Richards.
And we can totally have Dustin Rhodes walk out with him.
Exactly.
Be promoting that R&D Solutions.
Exactly. So Dustin comes out for moral support. They have a nice little match.
Oh my goodness, you talk about t-shirts, right? I want Dustin to have R&D Solutions on a piece of paper, smiling on the shirt. And because the R is literally anybody. It's Rhino, it's Raven, it's Princess. He doesn't care, but he's just selling t-shirts with his face smiling next to R&D Solutions.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. And it's basically
Dustin's really a money print machine.
And it's like a joke APA, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And what I mean by joke is like Dustin and said partner aren't selling their services like the APA, and they aren't drinking and fighting. No, it's just funny. Like,
it's just goofy.
It's just like
something goofy.
I love Dustin.
Oh man, great stuff.
But yeah, Steven Richards is a great talent who
Yeah.
was never given that spotlight
Ever.
I think the biggest thing they did with him during this era was make him the first ever male valet for Victoria.
I do remember that.
And
yeah.
let's be honest, what would you rather have, be in the main event with Rob Van Dam or be the first ever male valet? So I think that you're doing good work.
Yeah, I'm trying at the very minimum, but yeah. If you can't tell, I'm a massive ECW fan, which is why.
Oh, and so is Mick Foley though.
Exactly.
And so I think it makes perfect
It
sense.
matches up perfectly.
So
but yes, obviously Van Dam retains.
of course,
And that's
makes
for sure.
perfect sense. It's time for the final SmackDown of the month of May, and here we open up with the same way we closed last week, and that is with the the Alpha Entertainment Worldwide Television Champion. That is the World Breaker Mark Henry. He comes out, gets his music, gets his spotlight, holds up that title, and out comes his. Well, it's not the world's largest challenger. It is the first ever Tough Enough champion challenging Mark Henry, Maven.
Oh yeah, Maven.
And so
I forgot he existed.
there's no way that Maven ever had a shot. He hits a semi-decent drop kick. Mark Henry doesn't go down.
He is known for that drop kick.
That this match is not long and challenging for Mark like it was last week. It is short,
Literally
sweet, and to the
didn't break
dang
his
point.
sweat.
Didn't break his sweat, exactly. So Mark wins with the world's strongest slam, and
Do the push-up position again.
he does the push-up position again.
Beautiful.
He looks dead in the camera and says 29-1. He and like you said, that's the T-shirt right there with
Such a
him doing the
great
press.
t-shirt.
29-1. So that's the opening of the show. Midway throughout, we get a Hurricane segment. This time, he gets a letter that in it says that his secret admirer will be revealed next week.
Ooh.
I'm
excited for this.
keeping the storyline legit the way that it went because I like the storyline.
Yeah.
The main event of this episode is not a lumberjack match, but it appears to be a lumberjack match. So,
Because there's so many people on the
because
outside.
there's so many people on the outside. So this main event of SmackDown is a triple threat match. It is Lance Storm
Okay, I see where this is going.
versus with Test and Regal on the outside for him,
Right.
taking on Albert with X-Pac.
Factor.
Exactly. Credible and Show on the outside for him. And in the main event, it is Eddie Guerrero who is backed up by Edge and the Hardy Boys.
Oh,
Reason being is they are all out there because of all the shenanigans that have gone down between XL Factor and William Regal's disciples.
Right.
And so even though this babyface contingent aren't actually a actual unit, they are there to show the support for
Fellow babyface.
Babyface, although lying, cheating, and stealing, Eddie Guerrero.
Listen, Eddie Guerrero is probably the most babyface I've ever seen, despite his heelish qualities.
And so Eddie Guerrero goes over in the main event because he's not afraid to be underhanded in his babyface tactics, and so he
and
wins.
The crowd cheers him.
And the crowd goes wild. So he wins with a frog splash on Lance Storm when the Hardys and Edge keep Albert from
interfering.
Preventing the victory.
Yeah, gotcha.
And like I said, it's breakdown in chaos. It's a bunch of shenanigans city.
Violence all around. Everybody swinging on everybody.
But it's just it's a way to highlight guys who I think are
we're underutilized in real life.
Well, that and that can just go. You know, Lance Storm, Eddie Guerrero, definitely main eventers. Albert is a great guy currently getting the next generation going.
Exactly.
And like just have fun, playful stuff with the Hardys, Edge, William Regal, Test, Big Show, all the list goes on. And so, the thing is that as as Eddie is going up the ramp, and the other baby faces are with him, the Hardys and Edge. That is when you hear the rev of the motorcycle engine and the Deadly Riders ride out, and they lay out all these dastardly heels with last rides and choke slams and big boots. And
what was Palumbo's finisher? A boot?
What was his legitimate finisher?
Yeah.
No freaking clue.
Okay.
But in this world, he's going to be gifted the tombstone.
Okay. Cool.
Because it would take her doing the last ride, then Palumbo will do the tombstone.
Works for me.
But
that's great. He's long enough to do it, so no one will actually die.
Exactly. Yes. And so, so the show goes off the air with Credible taking the last ride and X-Pac taking the tombstone, and we get to hear some I Am Kid Rock music.
American Badass.
Exactly. And so it's just a way to get a lot of people in a prominent position, and and be a very enjoyable, action-packed show. Like I said, opening up, promoting the television title, keeping it good, and Mark Henry strong.
Sure.
And I'm a fan of this world, this Alpha Entertainment Worldwide universe.
This is so much fun, man. I can't even describe. Like, I'm actually like, and I think I'm pretty giddy about doing this because this is so much fun.
Yes.
And I just literally was like, I want to do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this because it's fun.
Oh, it's so good. I really enjoyed your promotion of Triple H to that. Here's what I'll say. I enjoyed your evolution of Triple H into a very Four Horsemen-esque character, and it makes perfect sense because with the characters we know that are coming soon, it's just right.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot that we have the power of hindsight. Because how I did this in real life was nowhere near as good. It kind of just happened.
The thing is, and I'll say this right now, the thing is, if the old man would have kept an eye out in OVW, if he would have listened to the right people, there's nothing that prevented Vince McMahon from
not knowing what was coming.
Well, from being able to see the potential in his own developmental system.
Right.
But anyway, it was a pleasure.
Always.
Thank you, and I look forward to going into the month of June.
Yes.
And going to the King of the Ring, where The Rock will challenge Triple H in the main event, and we'll see if that
we'll also have Jazz versus
dangerous
Lita.
man can follow in, keep his real life undefeated streak going, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great show.
It was a pleasure doing this, and we will see you next time.
Take care, guys.